In the name of God, who creates, who redeems, and who sustains.
Amen.
So if you're playing one of these things is not like the other game, I like to think that I am vested in tribute to our brothers and sisters at Virginia Seminary tonight, who are struggling with the burning down of their chapel. So I have one clear thing to tell you today, just one. It's you're tired at the end of a long day, so if you don't hear the rest of what I have to say, there's one thing that I would like to illustrate, is that you are the people called to reap. You're it in the Diocese of Michigan. Thank you, Bishop Gibbs, for the invitation to be here. I'm honored to be here. Jesus is sitting at Jacob's well in the reading we have today. That's where he is. He's not anywhere else. He's not in an upper room somewhere. He's not in a random field. In John, he has just been fed water by the Samaritan woman. That woman who says of him, "This man has told me everything about me." Everything. He knows me. That is where Jesus is sitting when the disciples come back and say, "You must be hungry. You sent us off to get you lunch, and here it is." And he says, "I'm not hungry." He says, "Of course you are. You sent us off to get lunch. Here it is." They look at the face of God and say, "You must be hungry. You told us to go get some lunch. Here it is. We're doing what you've asked. We know it's what you need." While they've been gone, Jesus has met the Samaritan woman at Jacob's well and said, "The kingdom is for you." Now, when I was growing up, the Samaritan scandal was that they were multi-ethnic. And I grew up in Texas, so that was enough to make it very scandalous. And I come from communities where that's pretty scandalous. So that was enough. Samaritans were pretty out there because they were biracial. But now that it's very cool to be biracial, the Samaritan is harder to understand. One of the other readings of the Samaritan is that they are the remnant of the northern kingdom. So that brief period where the kingdom of Israel was a kingdom under David quickly passes. The northern kingdom is taken away. They are gone. The children of Jacob gone, wiped out, a source of shame and humiliation. Best forgotten. These are who the Samaritans are, out there. And Jesus says to one of them, "Give me some water," and she does. And the sky is broken open again, right there at Jacob's well. Do you remember the Jacob story? That well is Jacob coming home. Jacob, the fool brother, who has hurt everything he has touched, destroyed even his own family, has gone out and created shame for his family, tries to marry a woman, even that doesn't work. He marries her sister. So has 2 wives and a bunch of kids, and even within his own family and the heirs to his name, he has created scandal and conflict. There is nowhere left for him to go, so he goes home, hoping maybe that his mother can work something out for him. He doesn't have anything else to go on. And he lies down with a rock for his pillow, and do you remember the story? The skies open and he sees the trafficking of the angels. The world breaks open for him for whom there should be nothing. And he has the good sense to grab onto it. He fights for it, that the messenger will be his. He fights it out in that spot, and that is the history of that spot. Right there, Jacob wrestles with the angel. He sees the entrance to heaven. It is there that Jesus rests after this encounter with the Samaritan woman and has some water that he has received from her and is no longer hungry, doesn't want his lunch. And the disciples in this story just can't get their heads around the fact that the story has changed. The entire narrative has changed. And why should they? It's time for lunch. He should eat. He probably doesn't eat enough. But the entire story has changed. Gary Evans tells the story in Becoming Bridges, a book on multicultural ministries. It's a North African story of the stream. The water is the stream. The rain has fallen, the stream is formed, and it is a good stream. Healthy and alive. Fish are in the stream. Everyone likes the stream. The people on the shore love the stream. They build monuments to the stream. They put flowers by it. They build their houses. Things are good because of the stream. The stream is important. The stream is going along and hits the desert. The desert is a barrier to the stream, but the stream knows if it pushes, if it keeps moving forward, eventually it will cross the desert. It's the nature of things. So it does. And nothing happens. It gets a little muddy at the edge of the desert. It starts to smell a little after a while. Nothing is happening. It says that the wind says to the stream, just let go. You cannot conquer the desert. It's not possible. The stream says, but I'm a good stream. Faithful stream. I know how to be a stream. I nourish everything around me. I am essential. Pushes and nothing changes. Out of frustration, finally the stream lets go. It dies. It lets go and it goes up and then backwards into the air. And it goes across the desert and it is dissipated. It is essentially gone. Until, of course, it hits a high place. It's a range of mountains. And as it gets closer to those mountains, it begins to condense again, and is a cloud, and eventually starts to trickle down again. And of course, way on the other end of where it had been, it becomes a stream again. I feel like we're a church in a place like that. And Michigan specifically is particularly poised to take us to that new place. The skies are broken open above our heads. There is no doubt about it. Things aren't what they used to be. In this month, in this country, I was going to say this year, but in this month, it has become unacceptable to bully teenagers. This month, okay? It's actually become officially unacceptable. Specifically, if they're gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, specifically, or accused of being one of those things. But essentially bullying, it has become unacceptable this year. Barack Obama, the President of the United States, has made a video saying, if you are a gay or lesbian teenager in this country, know that there are people that will love you, and we value you. The sky is broken open above our heads. This is not the world we were living in 3 months ago. As a church, we are perfectly poised to say to this world out there, we are ready to reap what others have sown, in the best sense. We are ready. Welcome. We will be the people that will love you when others do not yet know how. We can model it for you. We can just do it. What a gift to the world. The sky has broken open. It is as though the angels are running up and down those ladders, and we're here. We can see it. We can tell others. Another one, I guess, that you hear all the time if you live in Michigan, is that the defining multi-ethnic, multi-religious debate of the first half of the 21st century is about Islam in the Middle East. And so I am from a part of the country that does not have a lot of history in dealing well, but I thought we were better than we were. I now live in New York. And I think we thought we were quite good at dealing with religious diversity. We live with all kinds of people all around us. But I'm sure you've seen the scandal of the mosque downtown in New York. There are lots of mosques in New York. There's one a block away from my church on the Lower East Side. I know we thought, we were very good at this. We have lived with diversity for a long time. We value it. We love it. We appreciate it. And we fell apart as a city. We completely fell apart. People we thought were our friends. People we thought would assume that religious freedom of practice, was a core value. We're not our friends in this conversation. The church found its place pretty quickly, but the city did not. In Michigan, the specific gift I think you all have, and you all know this about yourselves, is that the ancient church has come to Michigan. That you have people who are from the Syrian church, from the Ethiopian church, from the churches in the Middle East and in Turkey. And that early church, I think, has claimed this gift of that broken, open space, the restoration of creation that you all are called to do in a way that we have lost over the years in the church. There is this connection to Islam in the early church that William Dalrymple writes very well about. He says that in traveling through Syria and Turkey and watching the old churches, my family's from the Syrian Orthodox Church, and watching the rites of prayer, you realize that the only place that those rites and rituals, little hand practices of kneeling and prostrations are still happening is in Islam. So he researched this and came to find that in the early days of Islam, people just thought it was a heretical form of Christianity. in some parts of the Middle East because it sounded so much like Christianity. And it is actually, in some of its public forums, is one of the only places that our ancient practices continue to thrive. And if we believe that the embodiment of our prayer has something to do with how we know God, we have a lot to learn and hear from our brothers and sisters. It's very close to the story of that Samaritan. What is the distance between us and our neighbors, between Jews and Samaritans? The great distance is that we are so close to one another. For me, it's another moment of the sky breaking open, of the interplay of angels and human beings, to make us so much more than we had thought. In those places where we thought we were broken, there was only shame and regret where we had failed. And we have failed. Where we have only to give to our descendants the shame of our mistakes like Jacob, our errors. God says to us in this moment that the skies break open for you. The messenger comes. Wrestle with him or her if you need to. It says to go off in pairs if that's the way you like to do it. But go out and find that good news. Because we're not called to be who we used to be. And it's pretty clear that we don't get to be who we used to be. It doesn't come back. But who we are called to be, we are perfectly equipped to be in this time. If we will but be the people like Jacob, when we see that sign, know we've done nothing to deserve it, and it is here for us to grab and take and lead this new generation home, to a home that we and they could never imagine, the home that God dreams for everyone.